Hey y'all, it's your friend D, and in today's video, we're going to make some miniature rooms using these faux books from the Dollar Tree. These books come in 2 different styles, and each style comes in 3 different sizes. And no matter what size you get, they're all $1.25 each. There are different titles, and each title is a different color. I chose this black book. It's The Witch's Guide to Brooms and Wands, and it has some really nice graphics on it. You can find these with the Halloween decor in your local Dollar Tree, and these are just meant to be decorative items to place around your room. And you can see the spine is finished, and here's what the back looks like. And when you look at it from this side, it looks like there's book pages drawn on, and there's a spider and some cobwebs. It also looks the same at the bottom. You can see there is a page marker, and here the book is from the top. And this one is meant to be used as storage, or you can even give it as a gift box. And there's a really nice burnt orange color inside. And this is the larger version of this style. The second faux book is actually a gift bag. You can see it's open on the top, and there is a ribbon handle on it. And I really liked this one also, and this was the larger size in this style. This one says Book of Spells. It's purple with some gold lettering and embellishments around it, and it looks like there's a crystal ball right here. And on the spine of the book, it continues with that gold lettering, and I'm thinking this is supposed to be an eye of some sort. And on the back side, it just has the same Book of Spells title, and on this side you can see the pages of the book. From the sides, you can see that the purple book is a little bit taller and wider than the black one. And the purple one is also wider across the front. I'm going to start with the Witch's Guide to Brooms and Wands, and I think I want to make this into a miniature brooms and wands shop. When I was thinking about how I want the broom and wand store to look, I just kept coming back to the fact that brooms and wands are typically made of wood. And I just thought, why don't I try to create a shop that seems to be inside of a tree, so almost like a tree house, but the shelves and everything are part of the tree. So this is a tree that I made some months ago. I did not film me making this tree. This was just a little side project I did. I don't always film my projects, especially if I'm just doing them for myself, just to kind of de-stress. And I made this with a paper towel and some foam board. And if you guys do want to see a tutorial on this, just let me know. But I made it so I could change out the foliage for the seasons. But it can also just be by itself and just be kind of like a dead tree. So I'm thinking I'm going to use the same concept that I made to get this wood look. Let's see if I can recreate this. I am going to cover up the orange on the bottom because I do want it to have a wooden floor. So this is just some leftover paperboard. These were from some wheat crackers. And I just scored some lines. These are 1/4 inch across. And I did some shorter lines to make it look like planks. So you can see it does bend a little bit. And I cut this to fit inside of the box. And that's going to be the floor. So I have my floor in place, and now I'm going to start working on the walls and where my shelves are going to be placed, because we have to have somewhere for the brooms and wands to sit. I have several pieces of foam board that are already cut to 1/4 inch wide strips, and I think I'm going to use these to build my basic shelves. So I have all of my shelves in, and this was really just random, guys. I wasn't trying to do any kind of design. I was just thinking I need some spots that are large enough to hold the brooms, and the other shelves would just hold the wands. And I didn't even cut all of these. I just kind of snapped them to the size that I kind of wanted and just hot glued them wherever I thought I wanted them to be. So a lot of my edges aren't perfect, and there are spots where you can see the glue spilled out. And that's fine because we are making this look like a tree, and a tree is organic, so it's not going to be perfect. Now I'm going to start building what's going to be the base of the tree. And I cut a bunch of triangles out, and they're mainly obtuse triangles, and they don't have to be perfect. Like this one here, it's not really a triangle, because if I need to, I'm just going to tear them apart and make them fit where I want them to. So I'm going to take these little triangles and I'm going to place them in areas where I think the base of my tree would start growing out the roots. And I know right now this looks weird, but I'm going to tear the top off of this one and stick it under here in this corner. If I can get you guys to see that. And I'll probably have one here on this corner here. So I'm going to figure out random areas where I want these triangles. So I have those triangles in place, and I might add some more, but I think it looks pretty good for now. Now I'm ready to start filling in at the top here, and I want to make it look like the shelves were carved into the tree. So I'm going to be covering up portions of the shelves, and I think I'm going to start with this corner, and that way I can kind of show you how I'm going to do the rest of it. So far I've put in these two pieces at the top. You see I have them angled, kind of leaning on these shelves, and then I put one in there, and I filled in this corner. And I need to, let's see if I can get a picture of it. I need to fill this in. So I'll just take another piece of foam board and glue it here, and then I'll start filling all of this empty space in. So I have this piece in place and this one, and now I'm going to take one of the leftover triangles and see if it will stay there glued in. I think that's going to work. I do have to go and add some more pieces to it, just some little pieces for extra detail. And this is a great way for me to get rid of extra foam board, because I always have all of these little pieces, and I try to use up as much of it as I can before I just decide to toss it out. But I'm going to do the same thing over in this corner, and I'm going to randomly start filling in some of these spaces. I have all of my paperboard in place, and I know it looks like a hot mess right now, but that's a good thing. And I took all of these little extra pieces of foam board that I had left over, and I went around and glued them in different little places just to add some extra texture. But if you look, you can see I still have all of my shelves. I did not cover those up. Now we're at the stage where I want to cover everything except the floor with Mod Podge and tissue paper. So I have my Mod Podge and my tissue paper. Yes, this is toilet paper. A few years ago, back when 2020 was happening and you could not find tissue paper anywhere, this was the only thing that I could get, and it was not the best. You can kind of see how thin it is, and I was stuck with this because I refused to use it, and at the same time I refused to throw it away. So I've been using it for crafts, and it worked out great on the tree. So I'm going to use it on our little store. So I'm just going to take an old paintbrush, dip it in the Mod Podge, and just start brushing it on. And I want to try to get it in all the little nooks and crannies. And I will be covering up all of the orange sections as well. And then once you put the Mod Podge down, I just take some of the tissue paper and I just put it in place. And you don't want to smooth it out. You want it to be a little lumpy. And if I have to get some extra Mod Podge and put on top of it, I will do that. So this is what it looks like. The Mod Podge is dry. I did let mine dry overnight because in some areas I went pretty heavy with the layers of Mod Podge and tissue. So I wanted to make sure it dried all the way through. And you can see the tissue did give, or the toilet paper I should say. I would suggest you use the gift wrap tissue paper or crafting paper for yours. I'm just using toilet paper because I'm just trying to get rid of some that I have that we are not going to use for anything else. I also put thin layers of the paper on my shelves because I didn't want these edges to be very sharp. And I let a little bit get on the wall so it can add some texture there. Now my next step is to cover everything, including the floor, in a layer of black paint. And I'm going to make sure I really get in these corners. So everything is covered in black, and I think I got the majority of the white. I did leave a little bit of the orange showing through from the box, but I don't mind that. I just didn't want a lot of the white showing through. So I painted the floor. I did think about doing the same technique on the front of the book, but I'm going to leave it for now. So I'm going to let the black paint finish drying. I want to do a similar paint job as I did on this tree, and I used 3 other colors besides the base layer of black, and that was a dark brown, a lighter brown, which looks more like a taupe, and a moss green. Next, I'm going to cover the entire box with a layer of the brown paint, and this does not have to be perfect. Some of the black will show through, and that's just fine. So I have my layer brown on, and you can still see some of the black paint, especially in the corners, which is perfect because it just makes it look like that corner is dark. And on the floor, I lightly went over it with the brown paint. I wanted some of the black to continue to show through on the floor as well. Next, I'm going to take this lighter brown, and this is just going to be used to highlight some of the raised areas. So I don't need a lot. I'm just going to lightly brush it over areas that I want to bring out. And if I put too much in, I can always go back with my dark brown and darken that up a little bit more. So here's what it looks like with the light brown paint on. And I did not go into the corners that much. I wanted to keep those as dark as possible. And I had a couple of places where I went on a little bit too heavy with the light brown. So I just took a little bit of the dark brown and just kind of blended it out a little bit, so it wasn't so light. But now you can see there is a little bit more highlight to the raised areas. And you can highlight your floor. I just chose not to do mine. I'm going to leave it with just the black and the dark brown. Now I'm going to go in with my green paint. You can see I just have a little bit on, and it's going to be similar to how I put on the light brown, but this time I'm only going to put it in certain areas. So maybe there is a little hint of green here, and I'm just going to tap it on and just blend it into the lighter and the darker brown. So I just finished putting the green on, and you can just see hints of it. Now you can always adjust the colors. If you want a more vibrant green, you can lighten this color up. If you want an even darker green, you can darken it. But I think I like this. And if you also wanted to make this room look like stone, just swap out the colors, except for the black. I think the black is important for the base coat, but all of the other colors, use different shades of gray, and I think that would achieve a stone look. So I have some dowel rods that are 2 inches long. These are actually the small skewers from the Dollar Tree. You find them in the barbecue section. So I just trimmed them down, and these are going to be our brooms. For the straw part of my brooms, I'm going to use this paper that I have. It's a straw color, and I don't have any raffia. That would be so much better. So I'm just going to use what I have. So the strips are 3/4 of an inch wide, and I'm thinking if I come down 1/4 of an inch and I start making cuts along it, that should give me the straw look I'm looking for. Now I'm going to start assembling my broom. I did cut some slits into the paper, and I stained the top portion of my dowel rod, and I used this cherry furniture repair kit. It's a wood stain, and they used to sell these at the Dollar Tree, but I haven't seen them there in a few years. So if you don't have a wood stain or a wood stain marker, you can just use some paint if you want your dowel rod to be a darker brown. I didn't stain the bottom of my dowel rod because I wanted it to match the paper as close as possible. And I'm needing this to line up with the bottom of the paper because it's going to help the broom to stand up. So I'm going to glue it in place and start slowly wrapping it around. So I added a dab of hot glue there, to keep it in place. I did not glue the bottom, so I'm going to start wrapping it a little bit, add another dab of glue, and keep going until I get the look that I want. So I have it wrapped around and I still have quite a bit from that one strip left, so I'm going to set it aside. I might be able to get 2 more brooms out of this. But for this one that's already done, now all I have to do is I'm going to, instead of using actual twine for the stitching that holds the straw on, I'm going to just use some brown paint and paint a line here. And I'm going to fluff up the ends so it looks more like a broom. Here are the finished brooms, and now it's time to make the magic wands. I've started cutting out little pieces of foam board, and these are about 1 inch long and 1/4 of an inch wide. And these are going to serve as our boxes that hold the magic wands. So I'm going to stack several of these together. I think I did make some shorter. Yeah, I made some just a little bit shorter, just to have some variance. And I'm going to paint these and make little labels for them. Here's the finished broom and wand store, and I really like the way it came out. Although I think I might have made my boxes for the wands a little too big for my Barbie minifigure. So this room might be a better fit for a Barbie extra mini. I'm still deciding on a design for the other faux book from the Dollar Tree, but for now, my friends, let me know what you think about the broom and wand store, and if you have any questions about anything in this video, please leave it in the comments below. I will try my best to answer your questions, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. I'll see you next time, my friends. Bye-bye.